So today I will talk about an article that was sent to me by Mike, the Heal Your Gut guy. I don't agree with Mike on everything because according to him, the only cause of all disease is stress, emotional stress and trauma. And all diseases are controlled from the brain and the perception of stress and of different events we have in our life. I don't agree with him about that. In my opinion, there are three main causes for diseases. Stress, yes, is one of them. Not only emotional stress, but also physical stress. If you start eating tons of harsh fiber, for example, it can stress your digestive system and really irritate your gut. That's an example. But there's also nutritional deficiencies and toxicity that can cause disease. Toxicity, it could be chemical toxicity or heavy metal toxicity, for example. Anyway, this article he sent me is very interesting. It's called Psychosomatic Aspects of Ulcerative Colitis, and it shows the work of researchers regarding this disease, and they come to a conclusion that most people who have ulcerative colitis have certain traits of personality that makes them susceptible to develop the disease. And they explain that most people with this disease got the disease from emotional stress or trauma. So I will read some parts of this article. I really encourage you to go read the full article if you are interested. I put the full article on my blog, on my website, so I will put the link in the comments under the video. So yeah, for more details, please go read that article. Today I will just read some parts of it. So they explain there are several points that explain why people will develop this disease. So I quote, "Number one, certain individuals possess in their personality structure a core of characteristic, partly inherited, partly developed under influence of certain youth situations, which makes them more vulnerable than others to certain types of interhuman conflicts which threaten their emotional security, especially if these conflicts occur with key persons in their close environment: parents, step-parents, brothers and sisters, marriage partners, teachers, employers, colleagues, neighbors, etc. Number two, in the acute cases, the disease breaks out after a latent period of not more than 24 or 48 hours after such an individual has met a conflict which is characterized by a coarse, usually verbal offense, a humiliation, often in the presence of others, which hurts the patient's self-respect and leaves him defeated and humiliated. Often, this gross offense refers to the inferiority of the individual concerning his sexual function. Recurrences follow similar offenses, to which the patients seem to become more sensitive as the disease proceeds. In the ease of insidious onset, the conflict consists of a series of minor offenses of a similar type occurring in a life situation from which the individual cannot free himself." So to sum up, the people who will develop ulcerative colitis, they have a predisposing personality structure, which makes them more vulnerable to a certain environmental stress situation against which the individual does not defend himself by action or words. Then, in the article, they list the personality traits of the people who get the disease. So, again, for more details, go read the article. I just took some parts of the article and I will list the personality traits. So beware if you are very sensitive, and apparently people with ulcerative colitis are. But yeah, don't take it too personal, because yeah, it can be hurtful in a way, because they list kind of the defaults of these people. But the important thing to understand in the list is that I won't list these traits to hurt you. I will list them so you can maybe recognize yourself. And if you do, then it's a good sign, because if you do recognize yourself in this description, then it means that you understand the root cause of your disease, and then you will be able to heal naturally by working on your traumas and on your sensitivity. Anyway, here are the personality traits of people with ulcerative colitis. They are hypersensitive, they cannot get over harsh treatment, and they feel easily offended. They are egocentric, emotionally immature, dependent, egocentric, anxious, and neurotic. They have a feeling of inferiority. They are predominantly dependent and passive. They crave for affection, sympathy, admiration, and protection without themselves giving much love and support to others. They are full of aggressivity and resentment, but they don't show it for fear of creating a situation dangerous to themselves. They are people that are very neat, very clean. They try to cover their passive features by an attitude of independence or even bragging. They are rarely prominent or active members of clubs or societies. They depend for gratification in their interpersonal relationships on a few key persons without whose affection and protection they cannot live. And on the bright side, they are active, sociable, lively, keen conversationalists with a good sense of humor. Often they have a good artistic taste and they are conscientious and orderly workers. So the conclusion, so again, and more details in the article, but then the conclusion of this article is that they found out that these people, most of these people, they talk about more than 80% of people with ulcerative colitis, got their disease from emotional trauma. What they really emphasize on in this article is that so to develop the disease, you need to have this core personality that they describe in the article. If you have this type of personality, it makes you more susceptible to develop the disease. But what will really cause the disease, if you have this personality, is if you face an aggression, usually a verbal aggression, that humiliates you. It's really the humiliation that is important here. It's this feeling of feeling humiliated in front of others and of not talking about it, of not defending yourself, of not exteriorizing your feelings, but on the contrary, keeping it inside of you, that will cause the disease. It is this toxic emotion, humiliation, that you keep for yourself that will eat you from inside. And then in conclusion, they say that the people with ulcerative colitis, most of them, they can heal by expressing their emotions and by finding true support, sympathy, and protection from their doctor and relatives while resting, following a good diet, getting proper hydration, and getting blood transfusions if necessary. So again, they talk about 80% of the people with UC having this disease like completely from an emotional trauma, but it means that there are still a part of the population that have this disease not because emotional trauma. So again, here it's important to not be extreme and say there's only one cause for diseases. It's much more complicated than that. But here I find it is very interesting that they found this type of personality that usually developed ulcerative colitis. So again, the solution is what? The solution is if you face a situation of aggression where you feel humiliated, don't keep it for yourself. You need to either defend yourself in the moment against that aggressor, but if you're too scared, it's okay, you don't have to fight. You just need afterwards to be able to talk about it, to friends, to talk about it to a psychologist, for example. You need to let it out. Okay, that's the most important thing. And you need to have support, sympathy, and protection from people around you while you're working on healing your ulcerative colitis. Anyway, go read this article, more details on my website. I put the link under this video. I see you in the next video. Bye bye.